So I want to start it out. Who here are UFC fans? Nope. Come on. DDP? South African champion? Come on. Right? You
I
know,
don't know how he knows all this stuff. I'm with him 24/7. Okay, before we start, we met in 2001. We have never spent one day or one night apart since we've gotten together. Never. I don't know how he knew that.
before I start, guys, I like to pray. And the reason why I like to pray is because I'm here for one reason and one reason only. And that's for God to use me as a vessel to work through me. So my prayer today, guys, is that you have ears to hear. You have a mind to process. And you have a heart to have passion for what God's going to speak through me. Because a lot of speakers come up and they speak to you. And there's a big difference when someone speaks to you. It's not personal. I want this to be personal. I want to touch someone's life today. And maybe you're out here, like Steve said. There's a purpose. There's a reason why I'm here today, that we're here today. There's no coincidences. I always believe when I get in front of an audience like this, there's someone hurting, struggling, that need to hear what God's going to speak through me and to you. So I pray that today. Guys, we're going to talk about embracing the process. You know, what we like to share with people is our life, to show that we're no different than anybody else. That we're going to share with you our struggles, what we dealt with, how we dealt with. And that maybe you go, wow, that touched me and I could do that. So when you trust in the process, what that really means is that you don't know exactly where you're going. You don't know what obstacles you're going to get in front of. But you know that the process is going to help you achieve success. Because success is something that's ongoing. It's not a destination, guys. Success is part of the process. And that's what we're going to talk about today, and you're going to hear about our life. You're going to hear our struggles. And I'll just set it up. Tomorrow's going to be even better. So don't miss tomorrow. But let's talk about embracing the process and trusting in the process to get to where you need to be. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to share our life. So 24 years ago, 24, that's right, I'm old. Holy crap. 24 years ago, I met the love of my life. I remember that day as if it was yesterday. I never forget. I was a broke real estate agent on a team in Arizona, freshly out of New York. I know, you're probably wondering, well, is that a kind of accent is that? Well, it's really a New York accent. But living in Arizona, I'm broke, and I'm sitting in the back of the room on a team. There was probably about maybe 15 other agents on the team. And like I said, it was like as if it was yesterday. All of a sudden, the door just busted open. A bright light just came gleaming in. We were all like this, covering our eyes. Trumpets blaring. It's like the gates of heaven just open, and in walks this angel.
Don't forget the wind was blowing through my hair.
I mean, Angela. Oh, okay, maybe there weren't bright lights, and Maybe the door didn't get busted open and no gates of heaven. But I'm telling you, I heard trumpets. I heard trumpets, and she's hot. So that's all that mattered. And I'm immediately in love with this woman. And she walks in, and she sits in the front of the room, her first day on the team. And I'm if you know New Yorkers, they're kind of loud and boisterous and like to speak their mind. And so I made some offbeat joke in the middle of it. Now, does anybody know the movie The Exorcist?
Aren't you going to tell the offbeat joke?
Have you ever seen the movie The Exorcist? Well, let me give you the picture here. I'm in the back of the room, she's in the front, and all of a sudden, this beautiful woman who I was just sheerly in love with, after I made that joke, her head was now facing me, but the body never changed, like The Exorcist. And here's the first words ever spoken from the love of my life. What are you, an asshole?
Do you want to hear the joke he made? And
no.
you will all agree with me.
No.
Yes, I'm going to tell. You're the one who opened the door to this story.
The door was kicked open by that angel coming in. But anyway.
Don't you want to hear the
joke?
Yes, they all want to hear the joke. He's not a comedian. Thank God that's not his day job. So literally, there was a husband and wife that was leading the meeting, and I was really determined because I was divorcing, and I didn't want to be a broke single mother. So I walked in with purpose, and I'm a nerd, so I sat in the front. And
She is a nerd.
I am a nerd. The wife was writing listings, mandates, whatever you call them, on the board, and buyers and sellers. And then I hear him make his joke that said, "Hey, Nikki, are you on a diet?" And she turned around and she was like all happy, and she said, "Yeah, Chuck, you can tell." He said, "I can see the board now."
I don't know, I thought that was a compliment.
That's my comment.
Well, anyway, on with the story. So here I have this woman that I just know is destined to be my wife. So I had to put on my cherub-like demeanor, my phenomenal sales skills, and then with months, I got her.
That's true.
Come on.
That's true.
Anyway, so here we are, broke. Like literally broke.
It did not take us only 2 weeks to get our first sale. You're bragging.
We're broke. We don't even know where we're going to live. That's how broke we were, guys. And if you knew my mother, there's no way I'm moving back in with my mother. So our options were very slim. But I prayed. And we prayed together. And I said, "Lord, where do you want us? What's the will you have for our life? Is this what you want us to continue?" And at that point, God forever changed our life. He gave me 2 scripture verses. He says, "You can do all things through Christ who gives you strength." And then he said, "Walk by faith, not by sight." And I really processed and understood what God was saying to us. Set your mind on the eternal things. Stop listening to what everybody else has to say. Guys, we live in a tough world. We live in a tough world that we listen to what other people have to say and not what our Creator has to say. You see, our Creator says, and He's very clear, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. Guys, when you understand what fearfully is, what he means is you are deeply respected and set apart. Wow, process that for a minute, guys. Now, I know I get to speak in front of audiences that not everybody shares the same belief as me, and that's fine, because in my mind, we're all created in his image. And even if you don't believe in what the Bible has to say, I'm going to share something with you. Understand this. As a human, we are set apart. Whether you want to believe we were created that way or not, it's a fact. There's no other living creature that is like us. And when God says, you are deeply respected and set apart, here's what I want you to process today. That when you look in the mirror and you go, I'm not them, I'm not smart enough, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too ugly, and you create these words in your mind, you are going against what your Creator made you to be, fearfully and wonderfully made. Guys, that's where we were at. We were listening to what other people. We were saying, we can't be them. We can't be successful. Until I realized we were created to be awesome. So we set out on a journey. Guys, it's a journey, understand that. Too many people just want to find a quick fix. It's a journey. Take one day at a time. And that's what we did. We went from being broke, and one day after another, years later, we're like, oh my gosh, doing this stuff persistent and consistently, trusting in the process was changing our life. Guys, that's what I want to tell you. If you're sitting and you're not where you want to be, and you go, well, how do you get like these guys and the accomplishments people made? We are no different than any of you. No different. Except we put in the work day after day. What did we work? 7 days a week.
We honestly did not take the first couple of years. We didn't take a day off, and I mean not one day, not Christmas, not Thanksgiving, nothing. We did not take one day off because we did not want to be in that job.
We didn't want to be a statistic. we wanted a life changed. And we're the only ones in control of that. And guys, you're the only ones in control of your life.
So I will tell you, I want to deepen how broke we were. We went 9 months with no paycheck. And then we finally got 5 deals in escrow, and do you call it escrow here? 5 deals under contract, and we had trusted a certain loan officer, and all 5 deals fell out in a December. So we thought we were about to turn the corner, and then I was worried I had to move in with his mother. That was not going to happen. So we really were broke. And so if you are in that position, we're going to give you some really practical advice of how to get out of it.
You know, Steve alluded to something when he spoke, and he said that he hopes somebody here could point back to this conference and goes, that was the start of the change. You know, in 2000, before I met Angela, I really didn't know business. And you're going to hear my story, my real story tomorrow, which is definitely something you don't want to miss. But I didn't know business. I didn't understand business, but I was in real estate, freshly moved from New York to Arizona, and somebody took me to a Brian Buffini concert. Yeah, rock on. Brian Buffini, show me how to work my database. Anyway, conference, and he said something that didn't make any sense to me. And maybe today you're sitting here and you're hearing it and it's just not resonating with you. And what he said was, he paused in the middle and he says, write down your biggest goal, like something you want in life. He goes, think crazy. And I'm like, listen to this crap. And I'm like, all right, I want to make $1 million. You know, I look back on that, and it is crazy how you could speak things into life. And what I thought was crazy at the time was nothing short of easy to do. So I am hoping today you could look back and remember this and something changing your life. So let's look at the first thing when you embrace the process. How do you respond to adversity? Look, we all have adversity. Everybody has things that pop up in their life that is an obstacle. It's going to be an obstacle. Because we live, just so you guys know, we live in a world of instant gratification. We live in a world that all you hear is this noise on social media, wherever. I mean, I don't know how predominant it is here in South Africa. I know in the United States, it's all over the place. Get rich quick. You don't have to do nothing. Take this pill and it'll make you better. Take this, you'll lose weight. You don't have to work out. Gosh, there was one ad I never forget. It's like, wrap this around your stomach and turn it on for 5 minutes a day and you're gonna have rock hard abs. And I'm like, what a bunch of crap. I don't know, I tried it for like a month, still nothing. But you know what's funny? Media is effective and efficient in what they do. You know why? They're efficient because they bombard you. Guys, everywhere you look, you keep seeing this pop up. I watch real estate agents do this and real estate coaches. Work with me, do this. You only have to work 2 hours a day and do this and you're gonna sell so many homes. And it's a bunch of crap. It is, guys, it's a bunch of crap. And it's all day long, and it keeps bombarding you where you start to go, ooh, maybe that one will work, and maybe this one, and maybe this is you out there. You buy this program, then you buy that program, you buy these leads, and then you wonder why stuff isn't working. And you know why it's effective? It's effective because it plays on what you want, and what you want is easy. You want success, and you want it now, and you want it easy. And as much as you keep going, oh, I don't believe that, there's that little voice in your mind that goes, well, maybe that's the one that works. Look at all the testimonials of these people, Bob R. and Mary S. and you don't think they're writing that in there? And you're going, but if it worked for them, maybe I'm that one that's going to be different. Guys, you're failing because you believe the lies. They're lies. I'm just telling you right now, there's no easy way of making money out there. And you look at adversity as a negative thing instead of embracing the beauty of adversity. It helps you grow. It challenges your mind. It really, she laughs at me. She says, well, Chuck, you're so confrontational. No, I like adversity. I love challenges. I embrace challenges. Look, adversities don't get easier. The way you handle them becomes easier. You know, in the 1990s, in Arizona, there was something called the Biosphere 2. Here's what the Biosphere 2 was. It was a place in Arizona. It was 3.5 acres. I don't know what that is where you guys are. It's big. Oh, it's good? I got a thumbs up.
I now know what the Lou is. Not who it is, but what it is.
So 3.5 acres, and it's an enclosed ecosystem. And the reason why they built it is because they say, hey, if we go to Mars, we want to get an enclosed ecosystem to live in. Well, let me tell you something. This thing was such a fail to begin with. Everything failed at this ecosystem. But something happened in that ecosystem that I thought was so powerful. As the trees were growing, they all just started falling over. And they go, why is that? Why are the trees in the ecosystem falling over? There was no wind. And what you realize, and this is God's creation, a lot of God's creation is like this. Where there's no adversity, you don't have strength. And you see with trees, it needs wind for the roots to go down and give it more and more strength. It's actually amazing. And maybe you're failing out there because you're afraid of adversity. You're afraid of someone saying no to you. You're afraid of overcoming an objection, or you don't know how. You know what makes you really good at adversity? Keep learning. Study your craft. Guys, a lot of you guys are real estate agents, but you treat it like a hobby instead of a profession. So, adversity, guys, is a big deal.
He told me I get to push the button every time.
I give her a job.
I'm not even speaking. I'm just going to sit here and
push the button. I said, fact check me, like she's already done, and push the button.
How am I doing? So I already know that a lot of...
And look good. And she did that already, so...
I already know there's always people struggling in the audience. Either you're struggling and you don't have any success at all, or you're just not where you want to be, or you're stuck at some kind of a production level. And I love this. We did not plan that Andre and Lydia will go before us, and they already touched on one of the things that I want to go a little deeper into, and it's really the lifeblood of your business. And there are dollar-producing activities in your business, and there are non-dollar producing activities, and we tend to get caught up in the non-dollar producing activities. And so the only activities in real estate that make you money are prospecting, including follow-up, appointments, contracts, and closings. That's all you can do to make money in the sales process of real estate. And to be perfectly honest with you, successful agents spend 50 to 60% of their time in dollar-producing activities. So if you don't have any appointments or contracts or closings, where are you supposed to be spending 50 to 60% of your time? Prospecting and follow-up. And that's where it's almost always why agents are falling short of their goals. 50 to 60% of your time, if you're a 40-hour-a-week worker, and if you're successful, you're not, you're more than that, but you're a 40-hour-a-week, that is 20 to 25 hours a week of, if you're not busy in those other areas, prospecting. And so you really have to embrace the process of prospecting. That's a light bulb that went on in our minds. I don't know why we didn't realize that. Even when people maybe told us, we didn't want to hear it, because 20 to 25 hours of prospecting and follow-up feels like a lot if you have not developed deeply the habits and the buckets of prospecting that resonate with the way God has wired you. You know, I know that you don't prospect maybe the same way he and I prospected, and that's fine, because all prospecting is putting process and procedure around meeting people and having the right kind of conversations related to real estate, not chatty conversations. So it has to be very intentional. And I think, Andre, you're the one who said you have to time block it. If you don't time block it, it's not going to happen. And if you don't track it, you're going to fool yourself into thinking that you're actually doing it, right? Like, we used to door knock a lot. And when I say a lot, we, for a year and a half, delivered 600 to 1,000 flyers personally every week. Every week. For a year and a half. We needed it to make money. That was more than 20 or 25 hours. We did other things, whatever. But we chose that because for us it worked. We chose how are we going to get in front of people? So you have to do that. And so once you say, I have to do that, and maybe you even have identified, according to the way you're wired, what you should do, and you've decided you're going to time block it, and you track it. What I mean by tracking is, did I have a conversation? Was it about real estate? We have a tracker called Sisu. I'm sure, 100% sure, there's some kind of a tracker that you can purchase here in South Africa that says, here's the conversations, here are my appointments that I set, here are the ones who actually showed up, here are the contracts, and here are the closings. Track it. Because then you'll know whether you're actually spending your time that way or not. Okay, let's say you get all of that. There's a mindset that you can intentionally develop around your prospecting, and we're going to touch on some of those mindsets that will help you to be good at prospecting. Okay, that's how I was supposed to be pushing the button.
Actually, I want to touch on that because you don't have a tracker doesn't mean there isn't a way to track. I'm going to tell you something that we used to do for our agents that most of our agents completely failed at if they wondered why they weren't successful. And we do this with all of our businesses, and you guys could do this too, because sometimes we think we work harder than what we do. And if there's nothing that's gauging that, there's no way you could tell. So I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you today. If you're not making the money or having the success that you want in your business, this is what you're going to do for at least a week. I'd recommend 2 weeks. It's called the time study. And what I want you to do is you take a piece of paper or a notebook, or you could even do it in your phone. And every hour on the hour from the time you get up, write what you did during the hour prior. And do that until you go to bed. And do that for, like I said, at least a week, if not 2. Then I want you to sit and analyze it. It maybe even go one better. If you're married, show your spouse or significant other and go, this is what I do for a week. And tell me if you'd be embarrassed showing it to them. Or if you have kids, show it to your kids.
Yeah.
You will be amazed how little you actually work.
Yes, absolutely. And I'll also add to that as well. If you are accountable to someone else, like he just alluded to, it's going to change your life. Because you don't want to go, hey, babe, hi, Johnny, hi, Sue. Mommy did nothing today. Nothing to make you money, right? You don't want to do that. So when we were always each other's accountability partner. I didn't want to look like a schlep. He didn't want to look like a schlep. And that helped us in our mindset with our prospecting. And there are a couple of, there's your thing. There's a couple of mindset things that I think are important to go through. I think, Chuck, you're first. Yes. This will help you to make prospecting a little more enjoyable and to see it in a broader way.
So here's what we mean by when we said when you're prospecting, you're not just looking for buyers and sellers. This was probably the #1 thing that changed our business from going to failures to success. Well, what does that actually mean? Understand sales. So when you understand sales, and I don't care what you're selling, sales is relational. People want to do business with people they like and they trust. And then we wonder why you make a phone call and you go, oh, I don't know why I'm not getting business. Look, I do not say steer away from cold calling, but I will tell you it's one of the hardest ways of getting business, because if I just said to you just now, people want to do business with people they like and trust, and you get a random phone call, do they fit in that category right away? No. Now, it doesn't mean that you can't work that, but there's a process when we say trust the process. So here's what I mean by you're not just looking for buyers and sellers, you're looking for people to build a relationship with. You see, that mindset shift completely changes the way you're going to work. Let me repeat that, guys, so you understand. When we set out, we were not looking for buyers and sellers. And you're like, well, that's weird. Isn't that what our job is? No, it's actually not. Our job is to build relationships. The more relationships you build, the more business you will get. So one of the key components, and I think I heard somebody allude to, you have a CRM, you have CRM systems, database management systems. I don't know the stats here in South Africa, but I will tell you in the United States, and I'm sure you're probably pretty close to it also. So in the United States, the National Association of Real Estate puts out a survey. They do a survey every year for all buyers and sellers. And here's the funny thing. Most real estate agents in the United States don't even know that exists. It's invaluable. They're literally surveying buyers and sellers and saying to them, where did you find your real estate agent? Would you use your real estate agent again? Asking questions like that. Now, here's the crazy stat. Now, like I said, I'm sure you guys are probably pretty close to it. Almost every buyer and seller said they would use their same real estate agent again, right? So understand that. But then when they asked, where did you use, how did you get your real estate agent? Almost very few of them said they used the same agent. So you have to go, well, wait a minute, that's a big shift. Why is that? So now also understand this. So we dig in a little deeper to the psychology behind that. Once again, I'll just tell you from the United States, most people move on average in 7 years. 7 years, okay? So if these agents are surveyed, these buyers and sellers are surveyed, and almost all of them are saying, when they purchase their home, would you use that agent again? They're saying, yes, we would. Then you look over here from all the people that bought and sold, how many used your agent? And very few of them used the same agent. What took place? A 7-year gap. So what does that say? Agents don't keep in touch with their clients. It's insane. And I'm blown away. We've been coaching and mentoring agents for decades. And it's the number one thing you should be doing, and it's the number one thing most agents don't do. Guys, you want to change your business? Get a database. And start filling that database with people, not just buyers and sellers. So whenever now we did cold calling or door knocking or open houses, our mindset wasn't what most agents, if you say to an agent who sat in open house, we go, how was your open house? They go, it sucked. Well, why did it suck? I didn't pick up any buyers and sellers. How many people came into the house? Like 10. Sucked. You talk to us, we're going, we had a great open house. Oh my gosh, did you guys sell the house? No. How many buyers and sellers did you pick up? None. How'd you have a good open house? I got 8 people in my database that didn't know me that will get to know me, like me, and trust me. Guys, I'm going to tell you, that mindset shift in your brain, I can guarantee will change your business, not overnight, but if you're looking to do this for a career, mark my words. You start that now. Remember, embrace the process, trust the process. It's a journey, not a destination. And you start that now without looking for that instant gratification. You are setting yourself up to be a top producer down the road.
Actually, only 4% of agents, yep, it's true. Only 4% of agents in the United States keep in contact with their clients in a meaningful way, 4%. So and that's probably true here, so if you can just do that one thing, you'll beat your competition. The next one is, if you don't schedule prospecting time, you won't do it and you won't track it, you'll fool yourself. I've already talked about that one.
This was one of my favorite. If you don't ask, you don't get. This is a simple thing. If you don't ask for their business, you won't get the business. You know, I learned this early on, even before I met Angela. I was broke. I was literally broke in the business. And I noticed a lot of people are people pleasers. Well, what does that mean to be a people pleaser? Well, we don't want to bother people. We don't want to bother them. They might look at us and go, oh, you're bothering me. And then realize, I go, I'm broke. And whenever people were coming into my open house, I didn't even ask them if they wanted an agent. I didn't ask if they wanted to be put in a database. So they would walk in, walk around, walk back out. And I'm like, wow, this kind of stinks. I'm broke. And then I realized, why did I not do that? Well, there was 2 reasons. One is I was newer in the business, so I didn't really know what I was doing. So I was embarrassed if I did ask them anything, and they might ask me a question I don't know. That was one. And 2 is, I didn't want to seem like I was bothering them. Well, that's horrible. Guys, if you're in sales, You should be asking everybody for business. Geez, we got to a point that if we're eating in a restaurant and I hear somebody next to me talking about real estate, she would think I'm literally getting up. Hey, you guys need a real estate agent? Hey. But you know why? You know why I could do that? I believed if they didn't work with me, they were working with somebody inferior to me. And that wasn't coming from a place of conceit. You know that was coming from? My heart. Because I and we generally cared about people.
He said we generally care about people. Well, not genuinely. He meant genuinely.
See, there she goes.
Generally care about people.
Angela, fact checker. Told you, she'll keep me in line.
That was funny.
You know what I have a bad problem? I say words, is anybody like this, where you say words that isn't really the word you should be saying, but it's close to it?
But everybody knows what you mean, so I don't know why.
So her and my daughter correct me constantly. I go, who cares? You knew what I meant, right? What's the difference?
Hey, you guys, we were so radical about this last one. If you don't ask, if you don't get. We have a story where we were sitting in an open house one day, and this guy had come in.
No, you switched the story. I'm going to say this story.
I just started it. So the guy comes in and he walks around and walks around.
No, backtrack. We're broke. Paint the picture. We're broke.
They already knew we were broke.
Newly, well, they don't know what timeline this is. Newly dating. So I'm still trying to win her over with my cherub-like demeanor. But I'm trying to win her over. So we're working together. We're always together. Like we're joined at the hips. And if the house is in American dollars, $950,000.
A long time ago, so it was.
So what is that in rands? Your rands, everything sounds like it's like millions and millions. I don't. It's like Hungarian money. I don't know, similar. But anyway, $950,000. Like that's. Like we're sitting in a house that we're like, don't touch nothing. If you break anything, we can't afford this. So the guy walks in, and he's in the house, and we just stand there. The part, you don't ask for business, you don't get it? Well, that was us. We weren't asking for business. He was in there for about 15, 20 minutes. It was a big house, but still a long time. And then he leaves. We didn't say one word to him. Probably just hello. That was it. And I look at her, and I go, here we are. Remember, we're just dating. I go, why didn't you say something to him?
Like, well, why didn't you?
She goes, well, why didn't you? And then we got into probably our first fight right there. Because we're broke, and here's this guy who clearly liked the house. A couple of hours later, he shows up with his wife and 2 little kids. And there he goes. They walk back in the house, walking around for like a half an hour, and walking back out. And she looks at me, and I'm like, before she said, they go, why didn't you? And so here I am. Remember, I got to win her over. So I am looking like a putz. So I run out of the house. This is a true story.
This is a true story.
Run out of the house.
I mean, he ran.
That was a long time ago. Run out of the house, down the driveway. The guy's got like an Escalade, a big SUV, and he's pulling away. And I literally jumped in front of his car like this.
He really did. He really did.
The wife had this look of panic, like they were going to get murdered. The kids are crying in the back seat.
They weren't crying.
It sounded good, though. And the guy rolls down his window, and he looks at me like I'm some madman, and he's like, what? And I said, look, you were in here twice. You clearly like this house. I go, why aren't you doing anything about it? And he literally says to me, he starts laughing, he goes, I can't afford this house. And I said, how do you know? And he looks at me, goes, I don't think I could afford this house. I go, do you have a house to sell? Well, here's the easy answer to the whole thing. Not only did we sell his house, we were able to get him that house at a better deal, and that guy forever gave us a ton of business. Guys, if I didn't do that, we would have been dead right there.
And he didn't get run over, so that's good.
Now, I'm not saying jump in front of cars.
It wasn't moving very quickly, guys. It really wasn't. It was just pulling out. So don't
He
be
didn't
impressed by
want to
that.
put a big dent in his car, that's why.
So the next one is good things happen when you work. Okay, this is a huge one. Go out every single day. Do not stay in your jammies. Get out, get dressed, and go out and do something. So we were showing some renters a home just for rent. We always worked with renters. You make no money. I don't know about here, but if you can work with, you make nothing. You make like no money.
You guys work with renters?
You can, but you probably don't because it
They're
doesn't
some
have
of
a lot
your
of
best
money.
clients.
Renters are people too, you guys. Renters are people too. But so we would work with renters because a lot of times renters became buyers, but this one didn't. So we were showing this house, and then we were out front. They had left, and a couple drove by the house, and it had a sign out front. It wasn't our listing. And they rolled down the window and said, "Hey, can we see this house for sale?" I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. It's for rent, but you need to buy a house?" And we sold them several homes, right? So another, I don't know if I'm going to steal one from you, but there's lots of examples. I don't know if you have the example of the tenants. So,
Is this like a conversation we're having?
yeah, could you give us just a minute? I don't know if he has this. Let me see. I want to see something. Oh, no. Okay, we can tell the story. This is really important. I'll be quick. So we were showing a buyer a house, and when we walked in, I'm not kidding, there were like 10 people in there. 10 people, and they were the renters in the home. And it was a small home, so there were a lot of people watching us show this house, and they all had forlorn looks on their faces. And as it turned out, they had been living there for like 8 years, and they just found out right before we showed the house that it was going up for sale because the person put the sign in the front yard.
They were Native Americans, so the landlord treated them differently.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
And so we had walked into their very first moment of learning they're about to be houseless. And so on the way out, our clients left. They weren't interested in the house. And my husband stopped and asked one simple question. Why aren't you guys buying this house? I mean, there's like 10 of you, right? Why aren't you guys buying this house? And just having a conversation with them, they ended up getting qualified and buying the house that they were renting.
They never thought they would be homeowners.
Yes, yes. So when you're out there working, things will happen. That is a huge one, and it's a mind. You have to walk out of your house or wherever you're living and say, today something good's going to happen to me because I'm going to work, right? Even if you're just previewing properties.
The last one on this list, guys, is who you surround yourself with matters. You know, one of the things that I've been blessed to do, speaking to agents, like I said, I mean, I've been in the business since '99. Gosh, a lot of you people probably weren't even born, but a long time.
She wasn't.
And I really, she wasn't even a thought then. No. And the one thing that I've learned over the years, now like Steve alluded, he's an introvert. Believe it or not, so are we.
So are we.
But people would be like, there's no way you guys are introverts. Look, when we say introverts, we love our time together. It is crazy. We literally have dates every night. We got 6 kids, so we have to date every night, get away from them. No, but my point is we don't draw energy off of people, but we'll pour into people.
But we generally like people.
But it depends who you are. Steve and his wife, we like them. You threw me for a loop here. Oh, so what I did realize is who you surround yourself actually makes a huge, like that's almost one of the biggest changes you could make is go, who am I around? Is that person where I want to be? Or is that person, every time I see them, suck the life out of me? You know, you have people in your life that when the phone rings and their name pops up, you're like, no, not answering. Not answering. Sorry, Mom. No. But it is true. And it's true because they suck the life. And I always say to Angela, if you ever see me being like one of those people, smack me. And let me know. I never want to be that person.
Right on.
My cheek has been killing me lately. Nobody got that. Anyway, so my point is, when you're around bigger people, people that will lift you up, and you stick around them, all of a sudden you'll see your life changing. If you're around people that generally have great attitudes, you're going to have a great attitude. You hang around successful people, I guarantee, without a shadow of a doubt, the level of success is going to go up. You stick around mentors and coaches. That's why great mentors and coaches can actually make a change in your business. But you don't need to find people to pay. Look at your surroundings and goes, who is going to hold me accountable? You know, it's funny. I watched two people at our company when we had Revelation, because we had said this, and I said, look for an accountability coach. Just partner up with someone. So we watched these two people did, but every time I was listening when they met, they're like, oh yeah, I didn't do that. Well, I didn't either. Hey, let's go get some coffee. Or they were an accountability coach. They both brought each other down, not up. Guys, it's extremely important to pick who you're around. And I'm going to tell you, I'm not trying to blow smoke about EXP. One of the reasons why we closed down our brokerage is because we were an island. And we started to realize, although this is my accountability coach and the love of my life, a best friend and business partner, we needed to be around bigger thinkers because we were plateauing. Believe it or not, yes, selling 40,000 homes and overseeing $9 billion, running the biggest company, we were still plateauing. I wanted to grow even bigger. And like Steve alluded to, well, Steve was wrong. We did not have 800. We had 906 agents. So we didn't really 10X. We only went to 8,000. But do you see the difference of being who you're around, yep, the level it could take you to? Guys, that is a big deal, to be around like-minded people that will lift you up.
And I'm going to finish it off about prospecting. You have to have reasonable expectations. And what I mean by that, even today, when I prospect, I'm prospecting for agents. And this is still true for me. When you're new, for sure, you're probably going to have 100 real estate conversations to pop out a closing on the other end. 100. Not 100 yeses, 100 people engaged in a real estate conversation. My statistics last year, I think I had, I don't know the exact number, 4,500 and something conversations, which popped out 50-something recruits, right? So, I mean, that's true, and if you don't have the reasonable expectation, you'll get better. Like your conversion rates will get better because your skill set will be better, but it's still going to be 50, 60 people to pop out a transaction. So hopefully you guys will understand that this is a process that you have to change your mindset every day and strengthen it, have reasonable expectations, and make sure you do it in a long-term way.
One last thing I'm going to leave it with. Remember, everything we're telling you guys, this is not fluff. Everything we're telling you took us from being failures in the business, literally, ready to get out. These are all proven things we implemented to be one of the top agents in the world and speaking all over the world. The last thing I'm going to leave you with is this. Successful people recognize that their decisions and their actions have far-reaching consequences to the people in their life. Guys, understand that your lack of working, your lack of doing, your lack of being an expert at your profession affects other people besides yourself. Now I'm going to speak to the married people out there or the people who have significant others. I'm going to tell you the most important thing that changed who we are is, number one, and this is just us, we answer to Christ. We have a relationship where God says in Ecclesiastes, 3 strands become unbreakable. And when God says 2 will become 1, we literally are one. And I'm going to tell you, it is disappointing and disheartening to see spouses, married couples, people in strong relationships that literally have no relationship with that other person. Guys, that right there will not only affect your business, but it will affect everything in your life. You see, if you're miserable at home, there is no way you could do what we're telling you to do because you're consumed with that misery. You're consumed with those problems. You fix your home life, I guarantee everything else will fall into place. It is amazing, and I'm only speaking about the U.S., don't know what it is in South. In the U.S., the divorce rate is off the charts. And do you know why? Do you know why it's one of the biggest things? Because when the kids get old enough and move out, the spouses look at each other and have no idea who each other is. And then they use the words, I fell out of love. Nobody falls out of love. That is a long time process. Guys, we do the business we do in everything we do because this is so solid. So solid.
We don't fist bump. That was.
Fix that. Fix that. Dream together.
Pray together.
Pray together. Talk to each other. We talk all the time to each other. We know everything each one's thinking. There's no secrets, zero. People look at us and they go, we don't believe that. No, literally, we are never apart. We're always dreaming. We're always visualizing. And then when we come to places like this, we go, look what God's done in our life. And we get to do it together. God bless you. I can't wait for tomorrow's talk. Guys, you guys are awesome.